So tonight I'm making meatloaf. So what I'm starting with is I have 5 pounds of hamburger that I got at the store, buy it fresh. And I'm making actually 2 meals out of this. We'll cook some of the meatloaf tonight, and then once I have it made, I'll put it in freezer bags, unbaked, half of it, and then we can have it as another meal. So we start off with the 5 pounds of hamburger. 1 medium onion goes in. And I have my celery and my green pepper. Roughly, usually I gauge it as a cup, but since I'm doing 5 pounds, I have a little more that I have on top of it. Then we add salt and pepper. A few shakes to pepper. All of this is to look. I'm gonna try to write out the recipe of what I've used, but it's probably about a teaspoon and a half of pepper, a teaspoon at least of salt. I do probably about half a cup right now of ketchup and put some A1 sauce in. I'm gonna add the Parents Worcestershire, good amount of it. I'm going to use Parmesan cheese in it. You can use fresh if you want to, or the grated is fine. Used probably about a cup or so. Mustard, I put in probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then we have panko breadcrumbs that I'm going to put in here as well. And that's about a cup is what I put in there. I'm also going to take 3 eggs. But since I have so much, I may go to 4 eggs. It all comes down to how it looks in the pan. One of the things you want to make sure that you do when you do these is that you make sure your meatloaf is wet. So that when it cooks up, it doesn't cook up dry. And then I also add half and half or heavy cream, whichever one we have. That was about a cup that I put in there. And then some of the other seasonings, I'll sprinkle in some Italian seasoning. Some oregano. And then some parsley. That's the oven telling me it's heated up to temperature. I have it at 350. We're gonna cook this. Then the granulated garlic, I'm gonna do a teaspoon. Probably 2 teaspoons since I have 5 pounds of meat. And then I have some ground cayenne pepper. This I'm only gonna use a little bit just to put it in, just to give it a little kick. That is half a teaspoon, just enough to give it some flavor. And then we mix this up, and I'll show you once I have it mixed and ready to go in the pan, how I form it, and we'll work from there. So one of my least favorite things to do is to mix the meatloaf, and luckily I had my wife here. She was able to mix it up for me. And I'm basically gonna put half of it together, and we're gonna cook that tonight. So I'm gonna make it so that it's a good sandwich slice when you cook it up. Just like that. And there we are, ready to go. And we're gonna put this in the oven at 350. It's gonna take probably about an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes at 350. You want to cook it a little slower so that it cooks all the way through. And there we are. Good. So this is my finished product, my meatloaf. Use my fancy Cutco knife, one of my favorite knives. And there's what it looks like. I baked it for about an hour, 350 degrees. Cooks up really nice. We're serving it with mashed potatoes and corn.